Welcome to The Advocates. I'm Sonia Baghdadi. We begin with an out-of-this-world trip. A gay astrophotographer who made history taking this incredible picture of the 2017 solar eclipse makes history again. Jon Carmichael jumped on magician David Copperfield's jet to capture the 2024 eclipse. The Advocates' Aaron Dean has more on how the pair is advocating for exploration.
It was a culmination of so many ideas that I had, so many visions that I had for so many years. And I really had to utilize everything I've ever learned in my 16-year career in photography in just 2 to 3 minutes.
Jon Carmichael was planning to watch the 2024 eclipse without taking pictures, but he then got the opportunity of a lifetime.
With the 2024 eclipse, you found yourself 50,000 feet up with David Copperfield. How did that opportunity come to be?
All of a sudden, just about 6 weeks before the eclipse, David Copperfield wanted to meet me, reached out to me, which is so crazy. So he heard my story through this miraculous grapevine, and he actually watched my speech on my website.
There's a very historic moment happening in our country. A total solar eclipse for the first time in 99 years is going from coast to coast.
The famous magician invited Jon to join him on his plane and photograph the 2024 eclipse.
You can stay on this side of the plane and then you'll be able to see the eclipse. His father passed away some time ago when he was younger, and my father passed away about 11 years ago, and we ended up realizing we have a lot of similarities.
Jon brought his mother, who is battling stage 4 cancer.
I would like to be here before the moon shadow hits.
An on-board film crew documented the trip, and Jon picked the spot for the shot.
2 minutes to totality.
The flight made it over the west coast of Mexico just in time.
Did you get any good shots this time?
I did, man. It was a very stressful moment. We barely made it. We almost missed it. It was really, really intense, and having to get approval by air traffic, but I did get the shots.
Here's what the eclipse looked like from the plane.
I'm really excited to share this with people.
Jon's fascination with eclipses started when he was young.
When I was 12 years old, my geography teacher told us what an eclipse was, a solar eclipse, and demonstrated it in the classroom and everything, got out a globe, turned out the lights, had a flashlight across the room representing the sun, had a baseball representing the moon, and said every once in a while, the moon will perfectly align in between the Earth and the sun, creating what's called a total solar eclipse.
As an adult, Jon became a well-known astrophotographer. Jon's work spans both earthly and celestial objects. But in 2017, he wanted to be at the right place at the right time to photograph a total solar eclipse. He organized a 3-camera shot and the cooperation of a Southwest Airlines flight.
I looked at all the commercial flights around the country, and I compared them to the moon shadow path. The moon shadow moves at 2,000 miles per hour, and I'm pulling my hair out trying to figure out how in the world am I going to find a flight that would actually intersect with the moon's shadow.
Jon departed Portland for St. Louis. The flight went from being a commercial airline to an eclipse chaser shortly after takeoff.
I have to get at least 180-degree view of the Earth. But shooting through this little window, I can't get that view unless, is there any way you could turn the plane around when we're in the moon shadow? And he's like, I would have to get approval by air traffic control to do that. Like, I know this is absurd to ask. He's like, yeah, it's pretty absurd.
And all Jon's hard work, tense moments, and collaboration paid off. This photo he took made history.
It was a really technologically challenging moment, really stressful, and I was sweating and shaking, and finally the eclipse was over, and I'm looking at all of my shots in the camera, and I'm like, oh my God, I got it. I think I got it. And I said, I'll have a drink, please. And I finally drank and relaxed,
His photograph from the airplane gave a rarely seen perspective.
This dark area in the photo here, that's the moon shadow moving across the Earth. So you get to see that you don't get to see from the ground.
And now Jon and Copperfield want their journey to inspire others.
As we get older, we really lose our passion and our curiosity. We get jaded by life in certain ways. And I think, having a childlike mentality and keeping that curiosity and that wonder alive inside of you, it's as cheesy as this sounds. I think that's really where creativity comes from. And we set aside all of our differences, our racial differences, our sexual orientation, political differences. We're so divided. None of that mattered during these moments. We all just paused and looked up at this incredible celestial moment. It doesn't matter how rich or poor you are or how famous you are, like somebody like David Copperfield, it all affects us equally as human beings.
Jon is working on developing his pictures from the 2024 eclipse and a documentary about the trip. For more information on solar and lunar eclipses, check out NASA's website at science.nasa.gov/eclipses.